Hello, beautiful souls. I hope you're doing well. In today's creative intuitive transmission session, we are going to talk about the really joyful subject of celebrating our lives. The inspiration for the message of today, not only in terms of words, but also of background images and collage that I will be sharing with you a little bit later in the session. All of this is inspired by the Mella Collective, which is the soul cluster I am part of. Beautiful beings that are high frequency and with whom I share a connection through the heart. So, the subject of today, celebrating our lives, is an opportunity for us to rejoice at the fact that our lives are already amazing, beautiful in the way that they are now. This can be a little bit challenging to hear sometimes when we are living in situations that can sometimes be challenging, either for lacking support, lacking finances, lacking, the realization of certain dreams we have, or things like that. And I mean, we have, as I've said many times in my different CITs and transmissions, that, we've been in a matrix for thousands and thousands of years that has really programmed us to be dissatisfied, not only with who we are, and that I have made a CIT about, finally accepting that we are who we are and loving ourselves for it. But also this matrix has invited us, or programmed us, let's say, more than anything, to be constantly dissatisfied with our lives. We don't have enough cars, we don't have enough houses, we don't have a bigger house, we don't have enough opportunities to travel, we don't have long vacations enough, we don't have the right partner, we don't have, the right children, or whatever. There's an endless list of things that the matrix has programmed us to be in a constant state of dissatisfaction. And this is not to get mixed up with something that would be more in the line of having preferences or wishing for certain things in our lives, which is okay as well, because we have come here in these beautiful avatar of flesh, which are amazing, because we are the result of a great amount of mix of genetics, which is absolutely fascinating and rich, and gives us the opportunity to be not only multidimensional beings, but also to be incredibly manifesting beings. And so in these avatars of flesh, we are invited to create and manifest our reality. And that we want it or not, we do it anyways. We do it all the time. The problem is that we have manifested the reality that the nefarious ones have wanted to manifest through us. And it is now time to take our sovereignty and freedom back and say, well, I'm now going to be the sole manifester of, a reality that I actually consciously choose, rather than being the manifester of other people's reality, or, so it is time to take that freedom and sovereignty back. This is a fact. This is a reality. And so this is not something I want to diminish, because this is really important. However, we have started from a place of dissatisfaction with the matrix that we've been programmed in. And so now we're like perhaps more awakened, and we are in a more perhaps spiritual journey. And in that spiritual journey, unfortunately, we tend to reproduce the same type of patterns that we have followed or followed, let's say, in the past millennium. And this pattern is this pattern of dissatisfaction with our present reality. So before it was in the matrix, it was, I wish I had 4 cars, I wish I had a 4,000 square feet house, mansion, and whatever. And now that we're more in the spiritual realm and in a journey, it's more like, oh, I wish I could be this totally enlightened person. I wish I could be doing this perfect job in which I would be perfectly financially, safe, and I would have my pineal gland completely activated, and life will be 5D everywhere, and everything will be perfect, and we would all be spiritual beings. Well, this is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wishes for our world and for ourselves. Nothing against that. However, the fact that we want these other things that we don't feel we have puts us in the place again of dissatisfaction. So we end up being at the same place of dissatisfaction. And everything that has to do with manifestation laws and whatever always says that manifesting something is about feeling that you are already in that reality. So how can we reconcile these preferences, these wishes, these manifestations we want to bring in our lives with the reality of where we are here and now, with what we are, with what we have, in order to feel this and feel it so well that it manifests even more of it, of that beautiful high vibration reality we want. But in order to feel that reality, we need to really, really sense it. And how do we sense things in our reality? Through presence, through mindfulness, through feeling that we are here and now, and that gives us enormous, enormous power. So the invitation of today by myself and the Mella Collective has to do with an important part or important attitude towards manifesting our reality, and that is gratitude, which goes hand in hand with presence and mindfulness. So this is all beautiful. It seems like concepts. How does that fit into our reality? And I always like to give personal examples, not to talk about myself and be the center of attention, but because I find that giving examples in one's lives really illustrates a point and makes it easier for people to really feel it. So I'll give you the example. I've been on a spiritual journey for many, many years. So my wishes were not so much to have a big car or a big house or anything of that sort. So it was more for me to be, having an activated pineal gland and be in constant love and high vibrations all the time and live in 5D and just create, do my passion in life and just be able to live, abundantly from it, not necessarily like making tons of money, but, just doing what I love the most and being able to just live a normal life and just being happy in my life. And then I love to travel. I have this passion for travels, not only on Terra, but I would love to travel in the cosmos as well, in space. And this it's been my dream for years and years, to actually travel in Nordic countries, to travel, near beautiful cliffs and live in a beautiful little cottage in the northwest of Ireland on a cliff, overlooking a Nordic Ocean. And it's always the same story. It's a dream I've had for like 40 years. And, and I always thought in my heart deeply, honestly, that I'd be happy when I would be there, right? And with a partner I love, and a partner that would be, like my equal in total complicity, a person who would be in spirituality and that I would be attracted to, and, all these beautiful things. And those were my dreams. And we all have them. We have all of our dreams. And lately, I have discovered that because of my financial situation, and a financial situation in which we all are, many of us are, right now, it's not necessarily possible for me to do lots of travels and move out to another country and buy a small cottage in Ireland or even rent it or anything like that. I'm a little studio here in Montreal and I love my studio. And I could be bitching and moaning and saying, oh, how come, the QFS is not kicking in? I'm poor. No, 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 no. That was sometimes my attitude in the last few months and years, I have to say, because I found it a little bit difficult to be in a challenging financial situation. But recently I've decided that I was abundant. I just decided that. I decided I was abundant. And I decided that abundance didn't have necessarily a lot to do about money, but it had to do about being in the present, being in mindfulness, and being in gratitude for what I already have, rather than longing for what I don't have. Very subtle thing, but it changes your life. It really, really, really does. So I'll give you an example, concrete example. I live in this small studio, but it is 10-minute walk from the St. Lawrence River, which offers this beautiful, walk by the water with forest and trees. And I live in a beautiful city that I was born in and always took for granted. For me, Montreal it's a beautiful city. It's a green city. It's a cultural city. It's a multicultural city. It's a great city. But I always took it for granted because, it was not the west coast of Ireland. It was not the Faroe Islands. It was not the Isle of Skye. It was not the Scottish Highlands, So I always thought to myself, oh, Montreal's cool, but one day I will move to these places I love so much, or I will travel to them, and then I'll be happy. And recently I've decided to look at my life and think, what if my life that I have here and now was my life for a very long time? Because, universe and source are always changing. They always bring change in our life. So I don't believe in forever things. Everything changes all the time. But what if my reality was to stay in the way it is right now for some time still? How could that make this a most blissful, joyful celebration of my life? And I decided to live like that. So first of all, I decided that I was abundant. So I do things simply because I love doing things simply. I don't buy a lot of things. I just enjoy the little pleasures of life. I love eating certain things. I love when I have my day off. I decided to go through my city, Montreal, where I live, as a tourist rather than as someone who just lives here and takes everything for granted. So living my city as a tourist, I fell in love with Montreal for the first time in my life. I really did. Now, like every Wednesday when I have my day off, which I completely disconnect from any electronics, I discover my city. I discovered that we have these naval shuttles that gives us the opportunity to have like boat rides for like almost nothing. And we can travel around the different islands around Montreal. We have beautiful museum. We have a beautiful botanical garden, planetarium. And, I just go through the streets of Montreal as if I would go through the streets of Dublin or Berlin or, anywhere in the world where I love to go sometimes in vacation. And since I've been doing this, my life has literally changed. I feel abundant. I feel like I'm traveling all the time. I feel like I can do everything I want. I feel like I'm in an amazing, beautiful city. What has changed? Nothing. My attitude only has changed. I don't have more money than 20 months ago or 20 weeks ago. I don't have more, partner in my life that compliments me. And I'm here. I'm happy. I love my life. I give to myself all the care, the love, the self-care that I would love for a partner to give me. So I'm already complete. So I don't need a partner to complement myself. Not only complement, but complement myself, because I do that by myself. That doesn't mean, I'm isolating myself and I don't need anybody in my life. On the contrary, my heart is open. If a beautiful partner is ready to come into my life, life gives me, what is right for me at the right time, I will, openly, with a open heart, welcome it. I will welcome any change that life offers me today. I completely surrender to what life has in store for me. So it's not about what I want anymore for me in my life. I'm just saying this my experience doesn't have to be yours if it doesn't resonate with you. I'm at the point where I'm not so much focusing on manifesting a new reality. I'm focusing on surrendering to what life and what basically equally means the fractal of source that I am, my soul, wants for me and knows that is right for me. So if I'm still living in Montreal right now and having the life that I have, I'm not a victim of it. It's because my soul knows that this is exactly what's perfect for me right now. And maybe what I needed in my life was to live simply, because it gave me the opportunity to be mindful, present, and in gratitude for all the little beautiful things I have in my life. And because I'm in gratitude for that, and I'm not longing desperately for other things, then other things might come into my life because I'm in a state of gratitude. So things just flow, and change will flow. New things will come into my life. And if I don't resist, and if I'm not reactive, I will accept that flow. I will accept that change. And life, which meaning my soul and source and the fractal of source that I am, will bring me to the right place that I will need to be at. And it might be the west coast of Ireland, which I dream of, but it could be God knows where, Chile or Asia, or, and it doesn't matter, because life always knows what's best for me. So I prefer to live in a state of freedom due to the surrendering to what life, source, and the fractal of source that I am has in store for me, rather than obsessively focusing on what I don't have and what I want to manifest desperately, which is probably not necessarily the thing that is right for me. It's what I want, but maybe not what is right for me. So I invite you as well to look at your life and celebrate that life, and celebrate all the little things that you take for granted, that you wish something else instead. Look at that thing and wonder, why is this in my life? Maybe there's something beautiful to honor about it there. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to realize something, to be present and to myself and mindful to myself, and realize that if this is in my life, it's because I need to work with it rather than against it and wishing for something else and living in the future, in the past, rather than that beautiful presence. So today, the Mella Collective has inspired us this beautiful background here, which is extremely joyful, filled with light, filled with sunlight, and it represents a path, a beautiful path in the woods, and it represents the way in which we can be in this present mindfulness. Anything that brings you in the future, in the past, or in this obsessive search for manifesting other things than what you have, keeps you away from the path of the center, the middle way, the path of the presence, to the now moment, into the mindfulness of the sacredness and beauty and perfection of your life the way it is. I know sometimes it doesn't look like that way, but it's a question of perspective and a switch of perspective. So this beautiful wood forest represents this enveloping love of source that always has our back, as well as the fractal of source that we are, our soul, that always surrounds us and envelops us with light and beauty for our life. And it's our role to change our perspective and see that we are already on the path, on the right path, There's nothing to change. There's nothing to look for. That doesn't mean you don't have preferences. That you might end up manifesting naturally in the flow of life just because you're so grounded in your gratitude for what you have right now in that path you're in. Now, let's look at our collage of today, which is if we want a way to bring high frequencies, high vibrations to you, but also to the, obviously to through colors and through forms. And this collage, which is entitled Akarai, actually is imbued with not only high frequencies and high vibrations, but it represents in a visual and iconographical way this beautiful high vibration message by the Mella Collective, which focuses on celebrating our lives the way they already are. So, Akarai is constituted of a background paper, which is golden, that you can see here. I'll just golden paper with birds in flight and beautiful red fruits and green trees and purple flowers, which to me, the gold always represents the powerful light and energy of source. But in this case, with the birds and the trees, represents, if you want, source incarnated, which is you and me and us, or the grounded spirituality, which is source in its manifested ways through every single beautiful thing that is part of our life that we often take for granted. Nature, our house, our family, our state of mind, what we have, what we are. Source is everywhere, and it's already perfect there in your life. So this is what this beautiful background represents. Then we have a lower circle, which is a blue circle with green and red and a little bit of silver, which represents partly flowers and branches, which to me connects with this notion, or represents this notion of a grounded spirituality again, and the grounding on terra, so appreciating our terran lives rather than always being stuck in the sky and dreaming of the twin flame that's out there that we're missing, or missing the family upstairs and not enjoying our lives on terra. But then also in this circle, there's little blue waves, which can represent the movements of lives and sometimes the challenges of life that are also part of the gift that source and our soul offers us in order to create a contrast for appreciating even more every element of our lives, but also to make us grow. So it's a treasure in itself. So that's for the lower circle. Then the upper circle, which is more oriented towards navy blue and star-like, or, stars or little white flowers, represents this connection to the stars, obviously, to our connection to perhaps our star families, or to, this whole universe sometimes we long for, but that we are connected to, but that we don't need to be completely obsessively living in, and rather balance with the lower circle, with the, as the grounded starseed channel logo is, always grounded on terra, but, connected to source and to the stars as well. And in this way, we are in balance. This navy blue circles to me also represent a state of calmness, of plenitude, of harmony, where we can feel that we are already in the life that we need to be in, and that everything is already here for our happiness. It just depends on, how ready we are to accept this. Then we have a central circle, red circle, that unites both larger circles, which is red with flowers, which to me, as always, represents the connection to the heart, because it is through the connection to the heart that we can not only feel grounded on terra and connected to the stars, but also grounded in our own life and happiness, and actually be in presence and mindfulness rather than always being stuck in the past or in the future, or what we don't have or what we did and don't have anymore, and just stay present in the heart, in the present. Then in the middle of that red circle, we have a small golden circle with the flower of life motif, which to me always represents source and the fractal of source that we all are. And from this total center of the collage emerges two beautiful branches, which are gold and black, and represent in a kind of centered way these two elements that connects us not only to our Terran reality, but also to our upstairs reality, or for starseed envoys, and brings us to a place of centeredness and mindfulness, to the present, to the now. And it's gold with black, meaning that it's always made of the elements of our lives, which are sometimes joyful and happy and perfect, and sometimes challenging and difficult and not always easy. But this continuous contrast is what permits for us to experience life fully. And, if we were just in joy all the time, we would not know what joy is anymore, because, it's the contrast with challenges that give its savor to joy, and it gives sense to joy. So it's this constant sort of contrast that bring us to the opportunity to experience life fully. But again, it's up to us to decide if we want to live this responsibly, in sovereignty and freedom, and saying, I choose my life, my soul has chosen my life, and this is why I live in the life circumstances I am right now. Or you can be the victim of the matrix, victim of the nefarious ones, victims of your life, victims of other people, and you will always be unhappy, and will always want to manifest something you don't have, while life is proposing you what you need. And often, if you change your mindset, it's quite beautiful. So that's for Akarai. Akarai is available as an original collage and as a digital file on my online boutique at abigaëllerichard.com. Both are imbued with high frequencies, high vibration, and the beauty of the message that was shared today by the Mella Collective. I hope this has resonated with you today, because we are living in challenging times where, we are living in a place in the world that we definitely want to bring changes to that world. And that is perfect. That is great. We can do that. We can co-manifest that reality by creating a new way of doing things, new politics, new financial systems, new medicine, no problem. That's perfect. We can co-manifest this. But this process will only happen when we will have actually made peace with our present reality, each individually with our own lives. Because if you're chasing something else because you don't like what you have now, you won't be happy what you will have when what you have achieved what you chased for. Because it will always be better in the future, better if it's different. The grass will always be greener out there. If you are completely in gratitude, in presence, in mindfulness with what you have now, with what your fractal of source, your soul and source has chosen for you, you're in complete harmony with life. You love your life. Life makes sense. Yes, it's challenging sometimes. Yes, it can be, annoying sometimes, but still you're centered in gratitude, and you think, wow, I have this, I have that, I live here, I have this person in my life, I have this beautiful activity I love doing, and if you completely feel how can I say, centered with this, at peace with this, then you will just attract more of beautiful things, and life will naturally flow in the way you want it to be. It's just going to naturally flow. Don't force it. Anyway, that was the message for today. I hope it has inspired you. And I invite you to not only keep your high frequencies, to be in gratitude 99.9% of the time, if possible, and to remember that you're not a victim of your life and that you have chosen, your soul has chosen every single aspect of the reality you're experiencing right now. So thank life for it. Send you lots of love. Take great care of yourselves. Bye. All my gratitude for helping this channel bring high vibrations and high frequencies to more people.